Thank you for joining while we showcase the 14-day custom tour to Australia. This journey will take you from Melbourne, the Great Ocean Road, Port Lincoln, Adelaide, Cairns, and finishing up in Sydney. Just to give you some information and background, as a Premier Aussie Specialist, this designation is a stamp of approval from Tourism Australia. So starting from VHS tapes, so that's taken me back a little bit of time, this program has offered me the experiences, the contacts, and opportunities to attend yearly conferences in all parts of Australia. You can be confident dealing with an advisor with this designation. And just so you know, there are under 50 in North America and 11 in Canada. So our first arrival, or as you come into Australia, it must be on the 25th of April. That is where, when you arrive, you'll clear customs and meet your driver for a private transfer to the hotel in the central city. If you're thinking of getting a SIM card to have the network for the whole trip, you can do so by buying it at the airport before you leave, or you can consider looking at eSIM cards before you depart your gateway. So the Sofitel on Collins is located right in the city center, so it's very convenient to walk out and have shops, restaurants at your disposal. You're close to a lot of the main attractions. So if you're arriving early and your room is not ready, then you can just leave your luggage and start to explore on foot. Here, we'll be here for 2 nights, and breakfast will be included. In the later afternoon of the first day, we'll have a guide meet us at the hotel to start a private tour where we're going to visit culinary hotspots. We're going to have a flight of drinks and nibbles to start, along with a 3-course meal paired with beverages. So it's not just about food, it's about the history, and then they'll be able to highlight some of the main attractions nearby. This tour will approximately be 3 hours, so ensure you have good walking shoes. The rest of the evening is at leisure. You might want to take this time to go and have a good rest, because the following day we'll have a full day out exploring, and this will take us to Phillip Island. It's about an hour and a half drive from the main city of Melbourne, and we'll be stopping at a wild park where you'll have a chance to feed kangaroos, see the koalas, and stretch out for a short walk. It'll be a good time to bring some layers for the evening, because as the penguins, the highlight of our trip, they come out at dusk. So because we're going in the opposite seasons, it is fall. So bringing a sweater or a light jacket will be convenient. So we will have dinner before the event. Everything depends on the time of day when we arrive, and if it's dusk, because the time frame in fall over there, it gets darker sooner. And at dusk, you'll see these little penguins come out, and here's a little clip to kind of give you an idea of what you might see, or what you will see.
Holding close, holding tight, let the moon slowly take over on the night.
They're so cute. And they come out every night at the same time, dusk. And we will have an hour and a half drive back, so it'll be a long day. And the next day, we'll need to check out after breakfast, and we're going to start our journey to the Great Ocean Road. So we will have an overnight during this duration. uh, so that you get to stop along the way because there's many stops involved here. And just by the photos that you can see, it's very scenic. So there are main areas where we will stop for photo opportunities, have a little walk, and then get back in and move along. So we will have a lunch along the way, and we will reach Warrnambool, which will be an overnight stay, and have dinner at a local pub. There is a little video just highlighting some of the areas just to get an idea of what you will be seeing. This gentleman, Fred, is iconic with a tour company. We're not actually using this one on this journey, but I wanted you to see what we are going to stop and explore.
My name's Fred. I'm a tour guide for Oceania Tours and Safaris. We do tours all over Victoria. First of all, you get to see these amazing coastal views as we make our way along the coastline from Anglesea all the way to Apollo Bay. And then after Apollo Bay, it takes a very different scenic route through the Otway Ranges. So we're actually going through a beautiful rainforest until eventually we get to the second most visited site in the country, the 12 Apostles, which always opens the eyes of our guests. When I'm on a tour, I'm seeing all those sites through the eyes of the guests that I have on board on that day. So for me, it's always different. If you're thinking of doing one of our tours, book it now. You will not regret it. I can guarantee you a tour with us will be something you'll remember for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's an amazing journey. And we'll be happy to explore with you. So on arrival in Warrnambool, this is our accommodations just for overnight. This is the Deep Blue Hotels in Hot Springs, and in the photo you can see that it's kind of in the middle between two water areas. It's between Lady Bay and Stingray Bay. So depending on the arrival time, you might have a chance to stretch out and walk down to the beach for a view. Otherwise, we're going to be heading out for the pub for the evening for something to eat. And then again, it's just an overnight before we move on to our next stop towards Tower Hill Wildlife Reserve before we make our way to Port Lincoln. So we'll have breakfast, check out. We'll have chances to see emus, koalas, kangaroos. There's just so much to see, and you're always excited to see kangaroos. And seeing koalas in their own environment is delightful. So we are going to make our way to Port Fairy for a lunch break. It's a maritime village, so you'll have time to explore, walk around a little bit, stretch your legs before we head off to Mount Gambier Airport. And that's going to take us to Port Lincoln. So we'll fly via Adelaide to get there. It's not a long flight. So this is a place, Port Lincoln, I've not visited, so this will be my first visit. However, I feel like I've been there because I've sold it many times, and I've chatted with the owners of the operators that we're using for this tour. So it's wildlife, it's seafood, it's marine life, it's natural beauty. It's a combination of things. So it's just a really special place that a lot of people don't know about, and that's why we're heading here. So we're going to be here for 3 nights with breakfast included. On arrival, you'll have a platter and bottle of wine on arrival, and you'll have time to explore for the rest of the day. The following day, we're going to be out for a full day of exploration. We're going to go visit the Coffin National Park. There's going to be, you can see in the videos here, these are all oyster farms. I'm not a big oyster fan, but I'll tell you, the first time I tried it, I was like, oh, I think it's just mind over matter. So I was happy to try things. I'm hoping that seafood is high on your list. If it's not, then we can make arrangements for other things. But anyways, this is a full day of exploration, and then you'll have time to relax and do things on your own in the evening when we return. But I wanted just to introduce you to Lunch, quote unquote Lunch. Just as a name. We'll have to find out why he's called Lunch, but he's passionate. He's all about Port Lincoln. I've met him several times, and he is just your typical Aussie. So I want you to hear what he's got to say.
What I love about the people of Australia, well, particularly around here, they're very laid back, they're casual, friendly, fantastic sense of humour. As a child, we all had this sense of adventure. How are you, mate? Coffin Bay oysters, the best in the world, and you will not find any fresher than this, than right here. Not much point looking at them. We're going to eat them. Come on, get that one down your lungs. Spot on. I just can't think there's anything better in the world than doing what we've done or how we've lived all our lives. It is a completely different world, but it's one that I'm certainly happy with, and I wouldn't swap it for quids.
So I'm certainly hoping he's around to see us. He does have other guides that work for him, but perhaps I'll get him to say hello. So the following day, which is our last full day, we'll be doing a lot of other explorations. Again, I've not been to these areas, but I've been told they're worth the stop. So we will let our guide take us and show us the way. So be ready to try things maybe you never thought you would try, like sandboarding. The morning of checkout, we're going to have an opportunity to swim with the sea lions. So if anybody's game for that, that's something that we can arrange. We just need to know if you want to do it. It is optional, but it will be certainly the place to do it here. Once our day is done here, we'll take a journey to the airport and head to Adelaide for a short flight. And upon arrival in Adelaide, this is a beautiful place. Walking city, lots to offer. We're going to have our private transfer that's going to take us to the Oval Hotel. And this is actually in the stadium there. So very iconic. And the way they've built it, it's kind of integrated into the hotel, stadium hotel. So the balance of the day is at leisure here. So we'll have a chance to explore if you want to go to the city center for dinner, shopping, or if you just need some downtime to explore. It's again at your leisure. The following day after breakfast, we'll be out on a full day wine tour. And this is going to be exploring the McLaren Vale and Fleurieu Peninsula. Another area like the Barossa Valley is very high on the list, but McLaren Vale has not, it can't be missed. A lot of people just don't hear of it, so they don't know anything about it. But Ben, who is the owner of this tour company, he's local, and he loves to showcase some of the secluded areas that many operators do not and cannot venture. So make sure you bring your cameras, have your batteries ready, because this is something special. Finally, we're moving again. This time we have to head off to the warmer climate of Cairns. So we'll have breakfast and head to the airport, which is about a 20-minute ride in the car, and head off to Cairns, where you're going to feel that burst of warm weather. And our transfer to Port Douglas will be approximately 1 hour, and it's coastal, so again, breathtaking views. And on arrival, we'll be heading over to the Peppers Beach Club, which offers a great location to walk out to the main shopping areas. You can actually turn the corner for a 5-minute walk to 4 Mile Beach, just like you see in this photo. It's just amazing. The following day, we're going to head to where most people want to go, and that is to the Great Barrier Reef. So we have a company sail away who'll offer our experience of the Outer Reef Mackay and Coral Cay. So Although this is not private, it's a lot less people. So it's going to be a unique itinerary. You can see some of the images here. Um, Snorkeling equipment is included. It'll be provided as well as lycra suits and wetsuits, floating devices for your use, because between October and May is, box jellyfish season. So we don't want you to feel that little stinger going out if you're intending on snorkeling. They have a qualified marine biologist who'll offer reef interpretation on a guided snorkel tour. Buffet lunch and morning and afternoon teas are included. Just so you know, everyone that plans to snorkel will have to complete a medical declaration form prior to us arriving, just to qualify for water activities. They take it very seriously, so they do ask specific questions. Here's a little video I thought to highlight the areas of interest. Yeah, it's pretty spectacular to see that. So another itinerary for the next day will be from Port Douglas, and it's with Juan and his team of guides for the Walkabout Cultural Adventure. This local Aboriginal tour comes highly recommended, and I've done it with clients, and it has knocked them out of the park. Like, everybody could not stop talking about their experience. You'll be entranced by their stories, the local culture, and their traditions. You'll have a chance to walk through mangroves, have a chance at throwing to catch a crab with their spears, learning how they have done it all the years, well before we had fishing rods. So this total experience will be full day from 9 to 4, with the balance of the evening at your leisure. Here's a little snippet about what he offered.
Welcome to Yalanji country. Marja Jalan, forest in the sea.
He's quite the character, loves what he does, and it really shows. So once we're finished that, again, our last chance at enjoying the warmer weather, we're going to the next day check out after breakfast, where our transfers will take us back to the Cairns airport and make our way to Sydney. Once we arrive in Sydney, it's a very busy airport, and we'll head to our final 3 nights accommodation just outside the Rocks area. So there's about a 20-minute drive depending on traffic. You'll be there before you know it. It's situated in walking distance to the Rocks, the Opera House, views of the bridge, and so much more. From these videos, you can see that if you go on top, you can see the Opera House in the distance. It's such a beautiful view. So here, just to give you an idea from this map, you can see on the left where it says the Rocks, that is where the hotel is situated. And above is where the bridge is. And across is the Opera House. But if you look further down, you'll see something called the Circular Quay. This is all walking area from the hotel through the Circular Quay up to the Opera House. There's the Royal Botanical Gardens. There's shops, cafes, dining, like everything is all around here. And also the Circular Quay gives you opportunities with the ferry to take you over to Darling Harbour, Manly Beach, just to name a few. So it's a great location. That evening, the first evening we arrive, we're going to be taking out on an evening Rocks pub tour. So while we're in the area of the Rocks, again, it's just minutes outside the hotel, we will gather for a walking tour while sipping and visiting some of the oldest pubs around. The guide will share the history of the Rocks, which was made up for the convicts actually, but now is one of the highest visited places in Sydney. It's a leisure tour for you to enjoy. And this is just a little bit about Dave's tour.
My name's Greg. I run Dave's Pub Walks. We do historic pub tours throughout the Rocks, Balmain and the city.
The hero of Waterloo is the Duke of Wellington. He defeated Napoleon's armies at the Battle of Waterloo. And you feel a cold chill on your neck? That is the ghost of Van Coote.
On a Dave's Pub Walk, you get to find out a lot about the early history of Sydney. It goes back from 1788, from the start of the first colony, all the way through to modern day.
These little laneways and pretty much the Rocks in general used to be ruled by street gangs.
Sticking to the main themes of blood, sex and gore, and a few bad jokes in between.
They have the oldest drinking establishment in Sydney. They make their own beer.
A lot of the history of the area revolves around the pubs of the area. The pubs are the hub of the community. So when you come on a pub walk with Dave's Pub Walks, you're going to get a lot of Sydney's rich history. You'll get to meet other people who are interested in sort of similar sort of aspects of our city. A couple of beers and a few stories, and you know, you've got fast friends at the end.
So that'll be an interesting introduction to the Rocks, and then you'll have the evening to find dinner, go for a walkabout, and it's just beautiful in the evening. And on day 13, what visit to Sydney be without taking in the famous Opera House? So we have stepped it up a bit to have a VIP experience with a guide, followed by a 2-course meal at Mark Olive's Midden Restaurants. He's a famous Aboriginal chef that has made his mark. The unique shapes, panels, and even the color will surprise you of the Opera House. Here's just a few inside photos. It's just an amazing building with an amazing history, and you'll learn all about this on this private tour. And here's Mr. Mark Olive. I had the opportunity to meet him years ago. And finally, we come to the end of the tour where we have our final day in Sydney. You'll have the day free to explore on your own, finish the last minute shopping, and then we'll meet early in the evening for our last dinner. And what better way to do it than be on the harbour? So we'll have this cruise dinner with a buffet menu and a 3-hour minimum beverage package. And then finally, for those that are moving on or heading back home, your transfers will take you back to the airport to Sydney International, and you'll be making your way to your next destination. So the price in Australia currency, so whatever our dollar is in their currency, that's the exchange. The cost is 13,243 Australian dollars per person for the land only. If you're paying by Visa or credit card, there is a 3% merchant fee, not by us, but the tour operator. If you wish to pay a wire transfer, you can do that. We can arrange that. There is a single supplement should you decide to have your own room and then you're traveling by yourself. But if you are willing to share, we can find to seek out another, but it's not guaranteed. A non-refundable deposit is required to hold your space, with the balance due the 25th of January 2026. There are a number of domestic flights, and that additional cost is 1763 Australian dollars. I believe that's for 5 flights. That's Mount Gambier through Adelaide to Port Lincoln to Adelaide, Adelaide to Cairns, and Cairns to Sydney. So your list of inclusions, of course, you have daily breakfast, there's highlighted dinners, all the tours I discussed, there's gratuities, the value of $100 per person included in this. The exclusions, of course, are your international flights. The internal flights is the extras I discussed. If you're planning to come ahead or stay later, that would be additional. Any meals or beverages that weren't specified on the tour. Travel insurance, very important for us to discuss. And if you're choosing any optional tours and services. Weather. So weather is a factor. Maybe not for some, but we are in opposite seasons, so it is fall time. It's actually a lovely time to travel without the major heat that most experience going in January, February, and sometimes March. So it'll be very comfortable. So you just have to layer up, but very casual in all the things we're doing. So you can dress up a little bit, but don't feel like you have to bring any suits or any dresses or high heels. No, you need to be comfortable. Currency, credit cards, debit cards are widely accepted. Some hard currency is good for local markets, if you want to do that. But tipping is not typical of there. Pricing in all the items that you see, if you're shopping, includes the GST. So that final price you see on there is what you're paying. Insurance, again, is highly recommended. Cancellation, interruption, medical. So discuss that with your advisor. If you have any dietary needs, you need to please advise us ahead of time so we can advise all the appropriate hotels and places we're having our meals. And more, of course, swimming, like I mentioned, the box jelly season. So there are wetsuits for you to use. They have the lycra suits on board, and there is a area for those that are not comfortable snorkeling. You can, they have other things for those that don't want to do that. But remember, a medical declaration has to be completed for you to participate in the water activities. So I'd like to thank you for joining me and hope to see you in Australia on the 25th of April.